This is the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Greetings, John Solberg here, your host for the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less. And this episode is being brought to you by The Butcher Shop, purveyors of highly sought after 100% Australian non-crossbred Wylarah 9 Plus briskets. And as always, they're going to be handpicked just for you. The Butcher Shop has been retailing the finest meats for the past 15 years. Every week, they're shipping out competition quality meats to many of the biggest teams in the competition scene across the nation. Simply put, teams who use The Butcher Shop win, and they win often. So you're not a competitor, but you still have an eye for the finer cuts. Great news, Butcher Shop is shipping some of the finest prime, dry-aged Australian Wagyu and Japanese Wagyu steaks to people just like you and me who aspire to be the kings and queens of their cul-de-sac. The Butcher Shop always has Berkshire, Compart Duroc, Allegiance Duroc, and Prairie Fresh all-natural pork in stock. And again, it is always handpicked just for you. Now you might be saying, John, oh, that does sound great, but how about something exotic? Well, rest easy knowing the Butcher Shop will get you your next elk steak or camel roast. They're going to handpick it and ship it out promptly. Let's review. The best competition briskets? Check. The best pork selection? Check. Giving you a better overall option to cook at home? Check. So give the Butcher Shop a call today. 850-458-8782. That's 850-458-8782. Mention the BBQ Central Show for 10% off your order each and every time you call. You can also check out their Facebook, facebook.com/The Butcher Shop. Shop is spelled S-H-O-P-P-E. The Butcher Shop, home of the 100% Australian non-crossbred Wylarah 9 Plus briskets. And here is what is going on in today's show. Let's take a jump back to 2012 and catch up with Greg.
Okay, big announcement, in case you didn't see it on the Facebook. Drum a little loud all of a sudden. Tonight, to the day and to the time, at least to the day, we mark the beginning of the fourth year of the live show, the BBQ Central radio show. So let's take a stroll back, if you don't mind. We started this show in 2008. Now, the show existed previously in podcast-only form, and it was something that was pre-recorded. You know, I talked to top names in the industry, all that great stuff, but I had whittled it down to like a 20-minute type of a deal and put it up, produced. So I took a lot of ums and ahs and a lot of live spontaneity out of the show. But nobody else was really doing podcasts, and the podcast started to get more and more available. People wanted to try their hand at them. People wanted to try their hand at a barbecue podcast. So had to continually set the bar high and high and high, or higher and higher and higher. And that's when I happened to find, where does anybody find anything these days? Craigslist. And there was an ad in the California Craigslist. There was a guy by the name of Sam Hassan who ran LA Talk, and at that point it was BBS Talk Radio, who ran or was just starting an online radio station. He wanted to do talk. It was going to be irreverent and entertaining. Nothing more irreverent than entertaining than a barbecue show, right? Of course not. And lo and behold, all of these 4 years later now, this show is still up and running. It's changed. If you're a subscriber to the newsletter that I sounded every Tuesday, I actually sent a link out to the very first show that we did February 7th, 2008. That's one you might want to go listen to. Listen to how the show sounded back then. Hear how the show sounds now. See how the transition of the show has become and all of the transitions that the show has gone through for the better for the most part. I know one time we had that segment called Tech Talk with Carlos. What can I tell you? Every segment isn't a winner. But for the vast majority of the show, things have progressed well. Popularity has gained more and more, especially on the download side. Hell, even on the live listener side, I mean, we're approaching 35, 40 connections. I have another 25 to 30 here on the audio side only. So things continue to build, however methodically, let's say it in that way. The thing that I really appreciate the most is, and I'm not going to discriminate this time, it's just if you listen to the show at all, I just appreciate the fact that you like it, that you continue to tune into it, that you've subscribed to it on iTunes, or you've used a podcast directory to get to it. However you're getting there, and especially the folks that are doing it live each and every Tuesday night from 9 to 11 o'clock. However you're doing it, we have made it 4 years, well beyond any type of expectation that I even had initially for the show. And I know I keep threatening this, but there are hidden archives of the very, very first. I say, there's produced podcasts that are on iTunes right now that you can get, and it's got the cartoon character Hillbilly with his hand on the cooker and a hand on the computer, and there's a decent dozen, half of 2 dozen of those podcasts, which a lot of those were the inaugural roundtable shows that have risen to cataclysmic fame over time. But even before that, they're not posted. You can't find it anymore. There used to be a website called Putfile, which was like an upload host that they lived on for a while, and then that site got shut down. I had to take everything off of there because they were closing. Man, easily some of the worst podcasts you've ever heard in your life. I know I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. There is a distinct possibility that I may or may not ever play the very first BBQ Central podcast, which I believe was just called like the Barbecue for You forum show or something ridiculous. To hear how the show sounds right now today, with all the production value, with top men in the voiceover industry doing bumpers in for me, getting huge guests like my guest tonight, Meathead and Sam the Cooking Guy, to go all the way back, which has to be 6 years now, maybe even 7 years now, to hear that very first podcast that was done in like a teleconferencing type recording session. It was some of the most horrific podcasting that I've ever heard in my life. Maybe I'll make that available for sale for those people that want to hear suck-ass podcasting. That might be the best idea ever.
Indeed, the best idea ever. Would you like to hear the rest of this show? Head on over to thebbqcentralshow.com. Link in today's show notes takes you to the complete episode. You do not want to miss it. You don't want to miss any of them. Make sure you subscribe to the BBQ Central Show on whatever your favorite podcast feed is. Never miss an episode of The Big Show or The Best Moments again. Thanks so much for checking it out. And until next time on The Best Moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less, I am your host, John Solberg. I look forward to talking to you again soon.